Hello everybody and welcome to my guide on how to make really quick money for a very cheap set inside of Corrupted Dungeons. What we're going to be playing is Great Nature on Q1W2 and the energy passive because in longer fights we are going to have energy problems. Hunterhood you're going to have Retaliate and the first passive for more damage and healing, Everlasting Spirit and first passive. Then you're going to play Soldier Boots. You're going to start on Rejuvenating Sprint, but you'll probably switch over to Wanderlust depending on what the current meta is that you're playing. Get an omelet that you're comfortable spending on. Pork omelet is better, but goose is perfectly just fine for these lower tier fights. A gig pot and just a flat cape. Because we're playing outside of the Antiquities Den, we don't have to get a mount or a bag because we can just go into the Corrupted Dungeon and then bank right after. And I know the weapon is going to cost the most for people at around 15k to 16k depending on the weapon. So what I went ahead and did is I went ahead and crafted a bunch of weapons. And I'm going to put these weapons on the market for really cheap, around 1k a piece. That way it can lower your guys' build costs and you can get into the Corrupted Dungeon and just start playing around just a little bit with that stuff. So we finally finished crafting them. We got a little over 200 nature staffs right now. I'm going to go ahead and put them on the market for really cheap so you guys can go ahead and buy them and then start practicing with this kit in Corrupted Dungeons. Alright, so here we are selling them. I'm going to just go ahead and put them up on the market really cheap. Looks like there's a lot of buy orders actually to get them at 8 silver, so we're definitely going to be placing them above that. We'll just go ahead and do 2,000. That's a fair thing. It's going to clear out a lot of these buy orders really early on. And then it'll keep the price still pretty low for you guys. So there we go. There is a bunch of cheap Great Natures for you guys to go practice into those 4-2. Looks like a lot of them have already been bought up, so while this video is uploading, I'll actually go ahead and craft more, and then I'll put more up on the market, so when this video is live, you guys can just come in and buy a bunch of them. And remember, we are in Thetford, so come to Thetford and buy these and go ahead into the Corrupted Dungeons and go ahead and start playing around with it. Alright, so now that we're at the other boss, I'm going to show you exactly why we want to fight around here. We're not going to kill this boss because we want him alive, because he's going to actually help us with our engagements. Once he hits us a couple times, he's then going to be using a special attack. Not this one here, but once he starts doing a little bit of a spinning thing, this right here, we're simply going to pop our E, and now we're at full health. So imagine if you're fighting with an enemy right here, you go in the boss arena, they're most likely not going to chase you all the way in unless you're low, but you can either fight them on the boss if they come into you, or just stay in the back, kind of back here, and use that little AoE here to heal up to full health. And so once again, we literally take 0 damage from this thing. You do get a little bit of a debuff where it's defense versus mobs reduced, but if you're not running back into mobs, this is perfectly fine because we're going to be at full health the entire engagement. So once again, go ahead and scout the arena that you're playing in, that way you know where the bosses are. I have been able to notice that the boss that I want to fight around is going to be on that northeast boss spawn, so I've kind of cleared a path out towards that way. Now I noticed where the enemy triggered a mob sensor, so I know exactly which way he's going to be pathing towards me. Normally you can kind of meet them halfway and trying to engage them on favorable positions, but I actually want him to come towards me because I want to fight on that boss. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be playing a little bit back, that way he can kind of run towards me and feel safe walking towards the mobs and through them to get to me. That way I'm not going to be trying to push him away from the boss, and that way I know exactly where our fight is going to be. Now I get a scout off, he is going to be on swords. Swords are really aggressive and they have a lot of jumping abilities that can close the gap on us. He's on Hunter Hood and Merc Jacket. The Hunter Hood, we simply just don't want to be Wing into that because it will reflect a lot of damage. And on the Merc Jacket, we simply press Cleric Robe so that he doesn't heal from it. As long as we fight in the boss arena and we get those heals off, there's no way he can outdamage us. We can W through his boots and his leap, so that'll buy us time and do a little bit of damage on that. But he does have cape advantage and food advantage on us and pot advantage, so he's a little bit tiered up on us, so we definitely need to fight on the boss for this to be in our favor. As you can see, he's engaging on us, and I'm popping all my abilities, but I'm going to be using my E early. That way when the boss does his E, it's back up and ready, because the boss does take a little bit up to charge up to do that special ability. But I did Cleric Robe through his Merc Jacket, but note, if you use Cleric Robe and E, your E won't trigger because you need to take damage in order for your Cleric Robe to trigger, or for your E to trigger. And if you're immune during Cleric Robe, you will not heal. So you need to space those abilities out as much as possible. But it's really working out in our favor here. We're getting full health during every single E, and he does have quite a bit of damage output advantage on us. But we're simply out healing us, and when he starts to run away, he's actually going to be running through the path through mobs because we didn't clear mobs on any of those 3 areas. So we do have mob advantage when he does try and run away, and we can just catch up, and the mobs are going to slow and do damage to him. But that was a really good start, an easy 600k, and we really didn't have any point where we thought we were going to die because that boss was really just keeping us alive the entire time. The audio for this clip got messed up a little, so I'm going to be doing some voiceover. I got a legendary chest right before the fight, so I thought I'd show that off. I'm low infamy, so it's not a lot of rewards, but it is quite a bit of money. If you notice, I pop my Wanderlust before I load in because I can keep the stacks. If you look on the top left, I have 8 stacks when I load in. So I'm really fast and I can run past a lot of mobs without taking damage, and your boots refresh whenever you invade somebody, so you have free boots and you have a lot of movement speed to get towards the enemy or get through mobs, so it's a really useful thing to do. I switch back towards my rejuvenating sprint once I get into combat, but they are on cooldown because I did pop my boots twice like an idiot, but normally you're only going to pop it once and keep that sprint, that way you have that extra healing when you need it. We are facing up against a quarterstaff. He's on the kill ability that hits him multiple times, which is good for us because we can trigger our E, which is going to heal us a bunch of times and give us a lot of health, more health than we're actually going to be taking damage. So we're just going to be pressing Q off. We're just going to be pressing E off cooldown, that way we heal as much. He's on Hunter Hood. We want to watch out for the Hunter Hood because our W does a lot of damage and we don't want to reflect that to us. So we're just going to press it whenever his Hunter Hood is off cooldown. His Mercenary Jacket heals him whenever he hits us, but we can pop Cleric Robe, that way we don't take any damage and he won't be healing off of that. So we'll be trading Robe passives or Robe actives whenever they're off cooldown. His boots are kind of irrelevant. He's going to be jumping on us, but we just use our Q and Ws to create space and kite, and then as long as we are pressing our E and whenever he's queuing us, we're going to out heal and out damage him. Combined with that legendary chest that we got before the fight, this is just an easy 400k. Out of all the matchups out there, Spear is definitely going to be the hardest that I've found. Deflecting Spin means that they can just sit in our Q and W and reflect more damage than we can do, and they have a Hunter Hood as well, so they have double reflect. So we really have to be careful not to damage ourselves whenever he has those abilities active. So this is more of a patience game while you outwait them, and they get really impatient and press their abilities first, and you can just heal through a lot of things. The Trinity Spear specifically, you can W them while they're in midair and knock them out. That way they won't be able to complete the animation and do a bunch of damage to you. So I highly recommend that you either W or Cleric Robe during their jump. That way you negate a lot of damage coming towards you. Right now I'm kind of kiting away from them because I want him to use more mobility than I'm using because he does have those leaps and whatnot. So I'm going to be breaking crystals, that way he feels like he is more urged to get on top of me. And that way he maybe use a boots or another leap ability that he has on his E. That way I have more tempo when the actual fight starts. These kind of spike traps are also a really good place to fight around because we can slow them down and kind of force them to move either away from us or towards a trap that they normally wouldn't have moved through, or they just have to move through our Q. So at any point they're either taking damage or we're getting distance, which is really good for us. And those lava methods that we can pop can also create a lot of space where we can heal off of mobs and buy time for cooldowns. He popped his robe early and he popped Hunter Hood, so he has no defensives, but the only defensive I have up right now is my R, so he's really going to be able to out damage me if he chooses to engage. So I just decided to kite back and heal off of mobs, that way if he was chasing me, I would be back towards a higher HP threshold than he was. But he decided not to chase, or he was just busy doing something else caught up on mobs, so it really didn't work out that well, but normally it would in this case if this was, sad to say, a higher IQ player. Once we re-engage, we basically trade robe for robe and E for E. So then whenever he does have his Hunter Hood back up, I am just going to not press anything and not do damage to myself. And then once his Hunter Hood is done, I'm able to just W him and finish the fight. Those are a couple of matchups that you're going to be probably seeing in the lower infamy. One of the ones that I didn't get to see is going to be Bo. Bo is going to have a lot more mobility on you, so it's really up to you if you choose to chase. I normally just break crystals against bows because I'm just not the kind of person that's going to chase somebody for 20 minutes for 100k. I'd rather just fight and then just go into the next fight and go into the next fight. So it's up to you if you want to fight bows. It's pretty easy. You out damage them, you out heal most of them, but it's just an annoyance and I just really don't like to deal with that at all. So I'll just break crystals, go into the next one. Another one I didn't show was gloves. Gloves are usually going to run Assassin Hood, and the main thing you need to do is press W, that way they get knocked up and you interrupt that Assassin Hood, and then Hunter Hood whenever they E you. They're going to have a lot more burst damage than you. As long as you survive those first 2 engages with high HP values, you're going to win the fight in the long run.